everybody, and welcome to Brick by Brick. I am Brad Crihfield, and today I have a very special guest. I have Mayfair wrestling coach, Coach Ibee Atalla. Do I say your last name right too?
Yes, you did.
Okay, cool. I'm always very sensitive to that just because my last name is so messed up that I'm like, everybody must have a name that doesn't look the same on paper. But cool, I'm glad I got it right.
No, you did. Thank you.
So I appreciate the patience.
No, it's all good.
Yeah. There's a lot of chords and buttons and stuff. But I'm glad you came in. You've had an amazing season. You always have amazing seasons. You're an incredible coach. People sing your praises all the time, and the products that you turn out speak for themselves. So tell me, how long have you been at Mayfair?
As a head coach, this is my 13th year, but I think I did 2 or 3 years, maybe 4. I don't really remember, but as an assistant or a walk-on for a help.
You started as a walk-on?
Oh yeah.
Who was the head coach back then?
At that time, it was Coach Pelton, Jim Pelton.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you wrestled at Mayfair?
Yes.
Right? You were 03?
02.
02.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I was right behind you.
Yep.
Lakewood. Yeah, I saw Mir Montes at last night's event.
Yeah.
Dude, he's got that mustache on point.
Yeah, he does. He's been having it for a long time.
Yeah, I know. It's just it's always impressive,
Yep.
even though I've seen it a bunch of times. Yeah, it's
was
cool.
he your coach?
He was him and Gonzalez.
Awesome. Yep.
Yeah, so and that's why, honestly, it all starts with that, and that's why I have such a affinity for wrestling, and I just know what it can do. Right, when I was at Lakewood, I just moved into the area. I tried wrestling and went through some really hard times, and I know that without wrestling, things could have turned out very different. And I know the power of not just wrestling on the mat, but what a coach can do with you mentally on and off the mat, and it sticks with you for the rest of your life. And I lean on that very hard today. That's why I'm so supportive now.
Absolutely, you are.
So what do you get out of coaching?
Oh, there's several things, but
you do it for the money.
Yeah, of course. You get kids that have, especially here at Mayfair, we get kids that never wrestled before. So seeing them grow from a freshman to a senior, that's not just on the mat, like you said, but off the mat as well. But seeing them on the mat and producing what we produce to guys that have been wrestling since they were 4 or 5 years old and competing at the highest level, that's awesome. And then also when they graduate, and the foundation that you just talked about that the wrestling provided, it's why we keep doing keep coaching, and seeing the product on and off the mat is very rewarding.
Why do you think it is? Why do you think wrestling is special in that regard? Like all sports, I believe, can offer that given
Absolutely.
the right staff and the right structure. But what do you think makes wrestling special? Because I'm biased. You're probably biased too. But just from just really thinking about what do you think really separates it?
Well, I played 4 sports all throughout my career.
Sorry.
So, but wrestling was to answer the question though. But wrestling to me is not a sport. It's a lifestyle. For you to be successful, your lifestyle has to change.
100%.
So, and not that other sports don't have that, but you can put that to a side. You can go home and eat a normal meal.
It's not optional.
It's not optional.
Yeah. So and I know there's some issues with weight cutting, and that can some people have a hard time with that. I loved it. It was hard. And honestly, you keep that with you the rest of your life. Like when you really know, because anybody who struggles with diet or weight knows it's mental. Yeah. It's about making decisions on a daily basis for what your goal is as opposed to what you want in the moment. And your diet and how you it's a reflection of how you view immediate foregoing immediate pleasure in sacrificing for your goals.
That's the key word.
Right.
It's sacrifice to get to your end goal. And wrestling, if to be successful, you will have to make sacrifices.
Yeah.
So it's huge. But so do you have to do that when you become a young adult or an adult. You got to make sacrifices. So that's why I love the sport because it's a tool for your life.
What's the hardest part about being a wrestling coach? Don't go there.
Yeah, no, 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 no. That was good. No, I won't. But there's always an obstacles. Every kid is personalities is different, right? And you know, you gotta just the main thing is you want to get to that kid. Sometimes, and I learned this throughout my years of coaching, because you could be aggressive, and that's mostly my style. But then if that doesn't work for that individual, you gotta come get them on a different way. Persuasion is key to success, and I learned that in the Marines. So, um, that's the hardest, I would say, to make sure every kid can buy into what you're and believe in you as a coach, because there's a lot of coaches out there that are really really good. What makes me different, right? And what makes it different for the program? It couldn't be just me, but what about if another kid liked the coach better on our staff? I encourage them to do
Right.
that. So you have an ego, and you got to put that ego aside because you're here for that kid.
Right.
So that's hard sometimes because I get emotionally attached to kids, or detached sometimes. But then you got your friends and your coaching staff that can pick that kid up, and that's the most rewarding thing.
Right.
That's the tough part, I think. Other than all the other obstacles that happens, you know, but there's a foundation, and I would say the structure that we have there is different and than other programs,
Right.
and it's well established, and it's expected. So these kids buy in right away when they get in now.
Right.
So I
What
think that's the toughest part
I
is just learning each kid's personality and knowing how to get to them, because there's going to be tough times, like you mentioned, in their high school time, and you want to be able to have them lean on you, no matter if they're going to be afraid of getting yelled at or being just taken out of the room and having a good talk.
or and sometimes i- it's not even being afraid to yet. Sometimes that's what kids want, right?
Absolutely.
Because a lot of times it's the sometimes it could be something as straightforward as the absence of a strong male figure in their life. Somebody who they don't want to just say like, "Oh, you're fine. You're doing everything right. It's the world's
Yeah,
the
they won't
problem."
get that from me.
Yeah,
No.
but there is that need for like that strong mentorship of like in accountability. And some kids, man, I was one of them. I was looking for it. Like I want someone to hold me to a higher standard, higher than I'm setting for myself. Like don't buy my bullshit.
Yeah.
Like tell me what I need to do to be better, and let me get mad at you for a day until I think about it, and then I come back and I go, you know what, I still want to be on the team,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. That's huge.
And I think, and from my perspective, I think what makes you so successful and able to impact so many of the kids is you can be militant as a former Marine. You're a tough coach, and I think it's necessary. But I've also seen you cry.
Yep.
So, and I think that's the thing. Like when when you go too far one way or the other, it's really hard for especially kids to lean on you
Yeah.
because you don't have the spectrum of emotion to be able to handle what the situation's calling for. But you do a great job of like staying goal oriented, being strong and goal oriented, but also they know like it's because you care and you've
100%.
shown them
If they've
that.
been with me long enough, they know I care.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I do care.
And I think another
Sometimes I
thing,
don't act like it, but I do.
right, right, and that's the thing. Like you don't want somebody to always act like they care. Like there's something to being having the power and the strength to show emotion, but not the weakness to let it spew out of you all the time.
Yeah.
Right, having that reserve, calculated reserve. Right, and I think what also makes the program great is you do something that successful sports do is you have a feeder program. Like that it, getting them started young, introducing them to concepts, the fundamentals early is what builds your program. And that's when I took my girls to the class, and that was super funny for
Yeah.
me. Maybe it was two. I think they're like 5 years old. My
No,
wife
but it
was
was
like,
good.
my wife was like, "Are you sure?" I was like, "I'm pretty sure." But like introducing them to that is so key, not only for just athletic wise, but also confidence wise, and just letting them like, no, it's all right to like, you know, to be physical.
Yeah.
And I think that also is why you've developed such a great girls team as well. So tell me, where do we stand right now? How are the teams doing? Where are we at in the season? And what's going on with the teams?
Well, we're really towards the end, literally. As we speak, tomorrow we're leaving to the state championships. We had four wrestlers qualify, um, two girls and two boys,
Nice.
and we have a female wrestler that made school history. She's a masters champion, Alyssa Prado, and
That's awesome.
yeah, so it's really
How long
good.
has she been with you?
Oh, for sure, for 4 years. Yeah,
So she's a senior.
she's a senior this year. Yes.
That's awesome. How'd she do last year?
I think she made it to the state championships. I think either she went 1-2 or 0-2 at the state championships. But I think it opened her eyes and made her really hungry because
Yeah.
she really put in the work.
Yeah.
I mean,
No, that's awesome.
she really, really put in the work. So, and then we got Rihanna. She also made it to the Masters champion finals. She ended up being the second, but which is really good because
Yeah.
you're once you make it to the Masters, like I tell everybody, you're top in your southern section on that weight. So she qualified to the state championships, and this is her first time going. So, and she's a junior.
Nice.
Then we got Turner Yanagasawa. This is his first trip there.
Nice.
And the amazing story about him, well, most of them all, really. They all been wrestling only for 4 years. So, and they're wrestling with the top.
Is he a junior as well or senior?
He's a senior.
Okay.
The boys are both seniors. And then Caden Carty, his name will speak for itself, but he's a 3-time CIF champ.
He's a great kid, man.
He is.
Dude, he's a
He is.
hard worker.
He is. He's a great kid. He got a good head on his shoulders. Good mom and dad too. So
Yeah, no, that's important. In any sport, but I see you have a group of parents. I think again, it speaks to their confidence in you, the amount of support they have for you in the program. You have a great group of parents, man.
Oh yeah, when I took over the program, that was my number one goal, is to build this, because I knew what it takes to be successful. It's not me. It's all the people that support it, really. I know that's what people say to sound good, but my coaching staff.
There's a reason it sounds good.
No, but it's the
true.
truth thing,
Yeah,
though.
exactly.
This is why Mayfair Wrestling is where it's at. This is because of the support that we have from parents, the booster club, and the coaching staff. They're all my friends.
Yeah.
They're all my friends.
And I don't know if other sports do it, but the event that you have at your house every year, the parent appreciation,
Yes.
it's great.
Mhm.
Are you kidding me? And you pay for all that out of your own pocket.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it's awesome, and it was fun too. I went to the last one.
Yeah. That one we went a little bit harder than I normally would do.
You went for him. I actually run into. I told you I see the comedian all the time, so I just ran into him at the gym the other day.
That's funny.
It's so funny because he doesn't come off as a comedian.
Yeah, no.
Like if he's not on stage, he just doesn't talk to anybody. But then you know that he can turn it on.
Yeah,
it's kind of cool.
That's
He's
pretty
a
cool.
cool
That's
dude.
pretty cool
Really
to
cool
know.
dude.
But yeah, when I was talking to him before, I was like, "These don't even sound funny."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had no idea because I'd see him at the gym. We've talked a couple times, but I'm like, then I saw him on a flyer a while ago, and he was like, oh, like all like extra, and I was like, what the? It's pretty crazy, man, how people can just like turn it on, turn it off. But that was a great event, and it was packed, full of parents, full of coaches, even your
Coworkers.
yeah, even your supporting coaching staff, man.
Oh yeah, no, you have to have them. And
Um,
my brother, you got my brother.
Yeah,
That's my right hand man.
and you guys go to crazy events. Like you guys are always on the road, doing. And honestly, I know it's like the way stipends work in any district, terribly underpaid. And I think that it shows like how much you do it because you love it, because nobody does that job for the money.
No.
Eh, So what do you think? How long do you think you'll be a coach?
I love it too much. So yeah, I don't have a time frame, but I know my son is 3, so and my brother's son is 4 months.
Are they wrestling already?
Not yet.
No.
We're gonna get ready soon. My
Yeah.
brother's anxious, so it's gonna happen soon. But I think that one might decide where we go.
Yeah.
As if I'm gonna continue the coaching thing and whatnot, or coach with them. But there's gonna be steps I have to like.
Would it be hard for you to coach your
Well,
own
I
family?
coach. I coached my son Isaiah's stepson.
Okay.
So that was
Oh, yeah, yeah.
yeah. So that was a learning experience as well because you take it home and I don't know how to turn it off.
Right.
But he did a really good job, and my wife also coached me through it too.
Right.
But there's still times I could have made things differently, and but he's a level-headed kid, and I think he did good. But I could have done a lot better. I
Yeah.
could have done a lot better. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a learning experience, for me, like anything else. You don't know until you do it the first time, and luckily I got a second chance. So, and there's a big difference in age, so
Yeah.
I could do.
Physically, you feel like you can keep going?
No,
No.
not.
No.
I'm not gonna be on the mat. I'm not on the mat with
You
the
don't go on
kids
the
now.
mat?
Nope, no more. I got 4 knee surgeries, and I'm scared to get
4?
the. Yeah,
Same knee?
no, 2 and 2.
2 and 2. Nice
Yeah.
even split.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Balance you out.
yeah.
Yeah. But
So no, I don't get on the mat no more.
no.
I just look like I get on the mat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Sometimes
the trick.
I went maybe about a month ago. I went 2 minutes
Yeah.
hand fighting.
Yeah.
And
You
it
know-
was supposed to be a minute, but my coach Juan
So wait,
extended the.
how are we going to do the
extended-
big match?
I'll be ready.
I thought, okay, all right, I'm gonna get ready too. Because all right, so breaking news. So it's such a big deal that we're getting the whole stadium at Mayfair High, but Principal Diaz actually came up with the idea, and he was like, "Man, it would be great to have the mats like right when we open up, like have like a charity like fundraiser of like me versus you."
Yeah,
I'm like, cool. As long
but
as
you got to put a time limit.
100%, bro. I tried to go the other, like I try to go like once a week
Yeah.
over to just jujitsu and stuff.
Yeah.
But man, I'm like that guy. Like I'll take like rounds off.
No,
and I'll
we're
just,
gonna. No, definitely.
And I got a little neck thing I got to figure out. I have like this like really bad impingement, just old man stuff. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
We'll see.
Science has gotten pretty good. Maybe they'll
Yeah.
just fuse me up and I'll be all right. But we'll see. But that's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
And I think honestly, for me, it's like, if it's for the kids, if it's for the program, if it's gonna do something good, then I'm all about it, man. I'll do whatever. Like I'll cheerlead, for the team and the cause, because I strongly believe in the power of team sports, but also like just athletics in general. I think a lot of times from like the elected position, we talk a lot about like the mental health of our students, and I think that you can't have a conversation about supporting athletics without knowing that that is a part of that conversation, that it is a huge part. You have your in most times you have your most at-risk students, who will find outlets, if but you have to provide a place for them to be productive and have mentoring and coaching. So like that does service a lot of like the mental health and the disciplinary action, and also the standard we set for our athletics. Like,
Absolutely.
if somebody's, not getting the grades, they have an incentive to get the grades up so they can actually compete. So you have to have some leverage when it comes to incentivizing kids, and athletics can be that leverage, a very productive, positive one.
Yeah. No.
So
But then
I'm all about it.
yeah, self-confidence too.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, I wouldn't be this confident if
Yeah,
I didn't know how
no.
to wrestle.
no.
And my cauliflower
But
ear
it
gives
helps
me,
them
like-
all. It helps
yeah.
them all.
That's why I was stoked when I got cauliflower ear. I'm like, I feel more confident.
Yeah.
And it's a great conversation starter. My wife gets mad at me because we'll go out to like a restaurant and someone will say like, "Oh, you wrestle?" Because they'll see my cauliflower
Yeah.
ear, and I'll go, "What?" I'm like every
You
time.
forget that you have
No,
it.
no, no, no. I know I have it.
Oh,
but
really?
But they're like, "Oh, your ear." I'm like, "What's wrong with my ear?" And
Oh,
then
no, you don't.
I do. I do. I'm like, yeah, I've taken it too far, but I think it's hilarious.
It is.
And they always take it good, but Mara's like, oh god,
That's
I'm
funny.
just like being that husband. She's like, I know what he's doing.
Yeah,
just
but
let him do it.
that is funny.
Where do you see the program going from here? I mean, I feel like you're always the event last night, the Lakewood Youth Hall of Fame. They even make it a point to say like this is an annual tradition. Mayfair Wrestling is here, like because it's such a common thing that you think it's what like 4 years CIF
Five
five.
CF titles.
So like it's well recognized that the program is awesome. Like what's the goal for you? Like what's the next level look like?
Well, we got to put more kids into the state and on the state podium. That's one of the biggest goals we try to do every year. Um, you know, and I think we need to continuously doing that. So we've been going to state 2016, and knock on wood, we haven't missed a state tournament since,
Nice.
and that's huge.
Yeah.
But now I think the goal is to get them on the podium. We never had a finalist. We might have one. We have a good opportunity. Our
Oh, I
girls,
heard Caden
yes.
might how does that work? So I overheard, I forgot where I heard it from, but he might be in the finals.
Well, he's
How does
right
that
now
work?
ranked number 3
Okay.
in on the bracket,
Okay.
and we already beat the number 2.
Oh,
So number 2 and 3 see each other in the semis if everything works out the way they go. We got to go one match at a time, but I'm predicting. So
is it the person he just wrestled? He like beat him twice before. Is it that
yeah,
one?
the Fountain Valley kid.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then he just won,
we just had
right?
the last head to
Yeah,
head.
that was a good match.
It was good.
Yeah.
He did well.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you beat him there, and that's the guy who's ranked 2.
he's ranked number. He's seeded number 2.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Sick.
so that will help us to get to the championship or the final.
Nice.
So
Have we ever had a state champion?
not under me, no.
Yeah.
Mayfair has had one, 2001.
Who was it?
Alan Kinnett.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Caden is the third master champion in our school history.
No way.
Yeah, so Alan Kinnett and then Malachi Lyles and now Caden.
And he's battled through some injuries himself. And
Yeah.
he's come through. He always like he has a really good temperament.
Yes, he's level headed. He's been wrestling for a while, so he's been experienced with it.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit easier to coach, right?
Right. Yeah, and not everyone's that easy to coach.
No.
There's it can be difficult.
Yeah.
Even when I had my my jiu-jitsu MMA gym, it was always like very hard to like, and that's like different than like a public school system where you're you're going to be more open to just like giving everybody the chance to do that. It's difficult because some people don't know how to leave their issues.
Well, at this point,
at
it's
the door.
all mental.
Yeah.
At this point, technique is going to be almost equal to each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's the mental, keeping the crowd in your head,
Right.
out of your head, really.
He does that really well.
He does
Caden.
because of the experience.
Yeah, I was talking to him before his last match over at Fountain Valley, and I was like, he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go over,
Yeah,
Mr.
exactly.
Crihfield. I'm gonna go over to Matt. I'm gonna wrestle." And I'm like, dude, I was like, really in my head when I was in that same position.
So was I.
He was totally cool about it.
Yep, he's been there,
I love it.
and he acts like it too.
Yeah.
So it's fun.
How's the trajectory of the girls squad? Seems like
We-
it's growing and going in the right
It's
direction.
growing, but we need it. We don't have a full lineup.
No?
No, and if we did, maybe add one or two more girls, and we probably would been back-to-back CIF champs.
How do you get more girls interested in wrestling?
They just got to get exposed, just like all the girls that we have now. They just got to get exposed to it, and you're gonna fall in love with the sport. But everybody has their. This is hard. This is not everybody can wrestle,
Yeah.
especially in this program. But once you do it, like we all talked about, it's gonna be rewarding.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to get it exposed, and we need to put maybe rewards for our girls to, like Alyssa. She's a perfect example. Like, why can't we do what she's doing? Let's follow her.
Right.
You know,
Well, that's where you kind of need that poster child. like,
Absolutely.
of
absolutely.
and that's another reason I think it's really important to highlight people because whether it's peer models or just role models in general, like people need to see what is possible and what the fruits are to bear for being a certain way. If you see somebody who's like, like Caden, I think is a great example.
Mhm.
Like he's setting the example of like, hey, if you do this, this, and this, and you work hard, like you're gonna be able to accomplish this, this, and this. same thing for girls wrestling. You need to
Yeah,
have those people who are like not only on the mat like killing it, but they I'm sure they're role models outside, and the more people see that, the more people will want to gravitate towards that.
that's true. I'm I would love to see the girls program grow, right? And I know it will, but it's just getting them exposed. Flag football might be a good starting
Oh
point.
yeah, because the seasons are off,
Yeah,
right? So you can some of those girls that are kind of like in the. 'Cause that's how I started wrestling. I was playing football, and they were like,
that's how
so
I did
I
it.
wasn't aggressive,
That's how
and
I got
my
into
coach
it.
literally told me, he was like, if you want to play on this team, you need to do wrestling on the off season. It's like because you're just not aggressive enough. I was like, all right, and then I just fell in love with wrestling
Yeah,
because I honestly think wrestling is the best marriage of individual accountability and and also being accountable to a team. So like you're graded on your own hard work, but you're contributing to a bigger goal. And I feel like a lot of sports don't have that. That's why I'm more biased. It's usually just the larger collective. Um, but I just think it's a great structure. I often will bring it up to kind of how it is being on a board of education.
hmm
It's like we all do our own thing. And I want everybody on my team to, you know, do really well individually because when we come together, we have a winning team.
yeah.
As opposed to having a team where, three people, drag their feet and we still win, but it pulls back. Like everybody, okay, your match is up. Let's see what you have. Okay, let's see how many points you're adding to the team. Like it's just much more in your face of like, what are you contributing to the team, and the hard work is reflected.
I agree.
That's my pitch. I
No,
know I'm not going to convince you because you already
no,
know
no.
it.
But it's good. No,
But
yeah,
yeah, I use it all the time.
no.
So, all right, we have some questions from the
Oh
social
no.
media interwebs. I haven't seen these, so I'm gonna have Dinko's gonna pull up some questions on the screen, and we're gonna go and answer. I'm sure they're all for you, and we'll just kind of go one by one. Sound good?
I don't know. Yeah,
All
it
right, let's
sounds good.
pull up the first question. How important do you think team camaraderie is, and your kids having respect for one another?
That's a good question. I
Thought of
mean,
it
that's a
myself.
reflection. That's a reflection of the program, right? So it is important. It's a reflection. You always um, look at the top, right? If you don't have that kind of standard, then everything will kind of break. So it is important. I mean, kids are gonna be kids,
Yeah,
and you can control what you can control as much as you can. So um, after being in the program for so long, it should be expected. So behavior is a reflection of what's happening at home, and then what's happening in the program, and maybe of some self discipline that needs to be either congratulated or fixed.
right,
I mean, so I think it's a foundation of them starting before they get on the mat, and
right.
everybody needs a little bit of structure.
Yeah, and I think the camaraderie aspect. Do you find teams that have like more of a like a they jive together like a because like teams have dynamics, right? Do you find like the camaraderie within a team like correlates to like how well they do individually?
Yes and no. I mean, we train to beat each other up in the room,
Right.
so that I mean that's a little different. But it's like watch softball and I watch volleyball. I never really played that, but I feel like um, they're cheering more to their teammates and stuff like that. Where I don't look for our guys to cheer or our wrestlers to cheer, you know. And
Just hold the standard.
yeah, I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
saying they don't cheer, but
Right.
I'm not looking for them to cheer and get them going. Sometimes I'd rather them be quiet
Right.
so we can send out our verbal things. I don't know if I'm answering what they're looking
Yeah.
for, but um,
Yeah, I'm actually changing my mind on how I feel about it now. Because so all right, my experience was like when the team was like too close knit and like we at one point we were like all friends and we all like hung out together outside the room.
that's okay.
yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So like I think like there is an element of you want them to be focused on the individuality of like what they bring to the
Absolutely.
work. But I remember there was one year like we were all just we all got like basically it became like a more of like
Hang
a
out.
friends hangout thing, and we like didn't we kind of like were able to push back as a group on authority and structure and kind of like let each other off the hook. So I think it's yeah it's a nuanced thing, right? You want them to get along and great, but also
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Get along. But like anything in life, and as we get older, we try to uh fix the way we are, like balance. You need to
Hmm.
have a balance.
Yeah.
And I'm still working on that daily.
Yeah.
I'm not nowhere near where I need to be. I know that. But
Right.
especially for my family.
From what I see, I
Yeah.
think you do it really well. But I do know as an issue with coaches who become too much like a friend to a lot of their people, and then you lose some of like what the question was suggesting, like the respect of the room. Like you want to maintain your position.
That is tough. And I was at one point in my younger days, I became a little bit too friendly. And when
Hmm.
I did have to do a discipline thing, it wasn't
Yeah.
sending that message that I wanted.
Yeah.
So, but I still want to be close to them where they can trust me,
Right.
but I don't need to hang out with them either.
Right. No. Good. Next question. All right. Why is the brotherhood amongst wrestlers so strong compared to other sports?
Oh,
Because you beat the crap out of each other.
well, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, honestly,
Blood,
have you?
blood, sweat, and tears literally
Hmm.
happen.
I'll tell you, like, so I fought MMA. I always had a drink with my opponent afterwards. And to this day, most of like, I think I had 11, 10 opponents. Um, like I feel like a connection with them because we beat the crap out of each other.
Yeah, I can't do
And there's, yeah, but I mean, like, even in like even in wrestling, like when you, like, there's something to, have you ever had like a friend that you're fighting with and then you like, you duke it out and then you're like, man, I love you. Like you become closer.
Maybe in the room, but not. I mean, everybody's different. So,
I mean, I'm not talking about my adult years. I'm just thinking
yeah, I know
I'm
what you're talking about.
reflecting.
No, it's, well, yeah.
Sometimes like you just need to get it out. And what I'm trying to say, which I'm not doing very well, is that uh like even in the wrestling room, I tell people like I I when I go to jiu-jitsu, like you just get it out. And
Yeah,
it's like it's a release and it's like a testosterone release and you just feel like, you know, more calm and all that. I think there's something to, you feel close with the people that if you have an issue with, if there's somebody in my jujitsu room that I'm having an issue with, I
yeah,
say, hey,
that's
I'm
absolutely
like, let's
true.
roll, let's
Yeah,
choke each other until somebody, and then we'll be good.
yeah, I can see what
That
you're
was a
saying.
terrible
No,
answer
but I got
from
it.
me,
No, yeah.
but I stand by it. All right, next question.
But do they tell us who's asking these questions, or that's not allowed?
It's just their Instagram name. So this is J Will 007.
Oh, yeah.
Favorite WWE wrestler?
Oh man.
That's for you. I don't really watch it. Well,
Well, I did when
Shawn
I was.
Michaels.
I liked him.
Yeah.
Not my favorite.
No?
No.
Wait, can I guess your favorite?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, that's a tough one. All
It's
right.
old, and these just it's an old guy.
All
I
right, if
mean,
I was to guess,
mhm.
this is straight up guess. I'm gonna guess um Ultimate Warrior.
Mhm.
Is it?
Yes, sir.
Hell yeah. Knew it.
Ultimate Warrior.
Dude, it was honestly, I think he's my favorite too.
Yep.
I
I
mean,
bet
just,
you that was Bedell that probably asked that question.
oh yeah, does he ask you that a lot?
Yeah.
All right, next question. Mental and physical trait that really separates a good wrestler from a great wrestler. A mental and physical trait. I'd say good traps for the physical trait. Oh no. That's more for jiu-jitsu too.
Legs
Legs?
and what you said, lats.
I said traps.
Well, lats. I
Well,
would
because
say
with
lat.
jiu-jitsu, it's like it's hard to choke somebody without a neck.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so what would you say? Legs?
Legs and lats, because there's a lot of pulling in wrestling, right?
Oh, that's true.
So
Then mental, I would say.
you kind of said it
mm,
when we talked about Caden.
Yeah, I would say sacrifice, like the ability to sacrifice. Uh, Mental discipline, probably.
Mental discipline, but I mean, being able to balance in your head, especially when the matches get tough.
Yeah.
Like this is a must-win match, and this guy is really good. Go get him. You got to be able to, without the coach sometimes having
Yeah,
to tell.
especially considering now that I think about it, he was about to go wrestle somebody who he's lost to twice, and he was still that cool about it. Man,
Yeah.
that's huge.
Well, he was getting closer every time. And then I think when he was a kid, they used to wrestle when they're kids,
Really,
and Caden used
that's a
to
like a lifetime
wrestle him.
movie
Yeah,
script, right?
yeah, yeah.
All right, next question. Does coach find a particular weight class more difficult to coach? If so, please explain.
Well, I always have a hard time with the upper weights, right?
Yeah,
Because that's not my style. But as I've been um, kind of progressing as a coach, I start learning from our coaching staff. But when they get in position, sometimes I'm like, dude, we need to do something different. Or, I'll ask, so I would say the upper weights for me,
yeah,
heavyweights, not just upper weights. Because,
like the big boys.
yeah.
Yeah,
But see, somebody like Caden, though, it's easier because he can score from any angle.
right.
Our upper weights that are not as athletic, I should say.
Yeah, it's almost a different sport in a lot of ways.
Oh yeah,
Um, it's like the movements. It takes more for certain movements, and I'll be honest, for me, and it's not the same when you get like an athletic heavy. It's different, right?
oh, it's totally
Um,
different.
but sometimes it can be almost frustrating. But because it's just different, it's going to be different techniques. It's like when I did Greco for a couple of seasons. It's just different, right? But I think it's for me the the weights I'm most familiar with are like this is what I would do
Yeah.
in that situation. But even like the really lighter weights, it's almost like it's like a whole different
Oh,
ball
they get
game.
in some scrambling positions. I'm
Yeah,
like,
I'm like, dude, I
hey, coach, what do we tell
just
this guy?
just keep doing what you're doing. No, it's difficult to coach different weights for
Yep,
sure.
it is.
All right, next question. I know what this is. This is my neighbor. This is Jay. Thanks for the questions, Jay. Um, what expectations does he set for the team and coaches?
Good question. I mean, expectations on winning, expectations on behavior, expectations on there's a lot. So my number one thing is I'd say winning, and people take it the wrong way, but I can explain it. So winning is everything, and that doesn't mean you have to get your hand raised. When you lose, and you find a way to make your losses into wins on or off the mat, then you won. So that's an expectation that I would like to tell, and I tell all the wrestlers that we need to figure it out. We need to, keeping their heads up, making them, and then that's our job as coaches. You know, somebody like, if you lose, we can come back and try to beat that guy,
Mm-hmm.
or it's not over. We got another chance, or if it's over, use it as a tool. Wrestling season ended, your career ended. Use it as a tool, and we as coaches, especially at this high school level, we should have high expectations as us because we're young adults or older adults or regular adults
Mm-hmm.
that we should be able to translate that for them to be successful. So those are the expectations, and I say discipline is very important. You don't have discipline, you don't belong on the mat. You don't have self discipline, you don't belong on the mat. So
Right,
and respect and discipline, they're different, but they're also the same.
right. Yeah, respect would be like a like having self discipline, but like respecting, like having the discipline to respect not only like what you're trying to accomplish, but also what the team is trying to accomplish. You have to be
Absolutely. But
disciplined.
like for example, like Caden, right? He knows wrestling. So it's not like if I tell him to do something, he's like, Coach, he'll never do this. But I'm just saying he knows every move that needs to be done. But if I tell him something, he'll respond, yes, coach, and he'll still do it because of the respect that he has for me and my role that I have. And all
Mhm.
the wrestlers are like that. They might not like it even that I tell them to do it, but they buy in and they're believing in me and they know that I won't let them down. Do I make mistakes? Absolutely, but they're gonna ride with me,
Right.
and you can feel that, especially as long as they've been with me. The first 2 years, it's you're kind of molding it.
Right. And then like back to the everything is winning and the lessons from losing. I mean, you've made a couple uh points and said a couple stories that like prove that point, right? Like with Caden, like if he were to just like accept that loss and then not evolve from that, you know, the next time and the next time, like he wouldn't be where he's at today
Yeah,
with the chance to go all the way. But
but
also
not just Caden, right? There's
right, no,
all these
you
wrestlers that.
mentioned Prado as well, like uh, getting so far last year.
Mm,
Like sometimes a loss is uh like the blessing you didn't know you needed. Um, and I believe very firmly like to make it about me. Like when I lost the first time I ran for elected office, that was exactly what I needed. Like it fueled me like no other.
mm.
Like I would not be as engaged and as um like passionate if it was just handed to me.
Yeah, of course.
Like you like
It's
you really have
it's
when you
earned.
lose, yeah, you have to like no, I worked my ass off to sit at this table. I worked my ass off to get to this point, and whether it's on the mat in this match, like nobody handed this to me. I had to pick myself up when
Mhm.
I was crying and I felt defeated, and I'm here now. So you just feel like you have a more of a sense of you're entitled to the opportunities because it wasn't easy.
I
Right.
have a kid. I think 2016, Fabian Reyes. He's the best captain I ever had, but he didn't wrestle. I think past masters. So sometimes it's not just getting there to the state or whatever, but that young man, he can he can lead anybody,
Right.
and it's because of that program, and he bought in, and
Mhm.
he's such. I mean, this is what I'm talking about, just winning on and off the mat.
Right.
But you know, I don't know if that
Yeah.
answers all the
No, no,
questions,
no,
but
100%. I,
yeah,
I think I think winning how you frame what winning is, because I know what you're saying. Like if you just say winning is everything, people will be like, well, there's so much more to
yeah,
life than and you're like, no, hear me out. Like
no,
I totally agree.
yeah.
I totally
But
agree.
the participation awards, and I know people will feel different, but they
Ain't
don't need to be there.
ain't about it.
They
Ain't
don't
about it.
they don't need to be there because
Yeah.
you're actually hurting the kid.
Yep.
You're
100%.
actually you're hurting any even it's not. It's got to be earned because now if I give you a ring and I give somebody else a ring, what weight does that carry?
Right. I mean, that's how I feel with diplomas. I mean, if everyone's getting one. All right. Before I get myself in trouble, next question. All right. Continued. So this must be continued. So this is Sinavi. Um, how do you keep wrestlers hungry and focused on their goals? By cutting weight, make them cut weight.
No.
That's how you keep them hungry. That was a joke.
No. Oh
Sorry.
yeah,
That
I
was a,
get that
that was a
now.
dad joke. That was a dad
No,
joke.
it was good. It was good actually. Just the headphones. No,
yeah, yeah.
no, it was good. But that's what I mean in the beginning of the this podcast. I think it was the beginning, but you got to learn that kid's personality,
Right.
and it's not just. It could be off the mat that could fix the hunger, or it could be on the mat, or it could be both. And when you get to them, I think you'll see the change. But it's a roller coaster. This whole season, all wrestling, just like life. And I tell the kids everything that I tell them is something that I experience or something that I need to improve myself on, or some of the coaches that I have that
That's
tell
where
me.
that's where the best advice comes from. And I tell people all the time, if someone's giving you really good advice and it's really resonating, it's because they're trying to convince themselves because they know they need that advice.
Absolutely.
That's why I always feel like the idea of people discrediting or discarding somebody's advice because you're like, well, you're a hypocrite because you don't do those things. Don't
No,
do
no, no,
that.
no,
Don't
no,
do
no.
that because that is where the best advice comes from. It's like just because like pointing out somebody else's flaw why they're not following it 100%. Like it does, if it rings true, it's true. It's true for you. It's true for
It's
them.
funny because then you say, "Do as I say, don't do as I do."
Right, right, exactly. So, what was I gonna say? Shoot, there was something right before that when I got sidetracked.
Threw you off at the end.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Damn it. What was the question again? I want to get it back. I'm gonna focus on the goals. Mm, man, that was a good one.
Sorry.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. All right, keep me hungry. Knowing, knowing the athlete, knowing this, because they all need something different, and
Mhm.
we talked about it a little bit in the beginning. Sometimes sometimes just like babies, just like children and humans, sometimes we act out for different reasons, and sometimes we want to elicit that we want to elicit the negative, because we want to feel seen. We want the attention of like, you care enough to get mad at me. And so sometimes that's where those negative behaviors come. So as long as you identify, like, okay, I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like you're trying to, because a lot of people, like from youth to teens to adults, don't grow out of that. They
No.
don't realize that a lot of their negative behaviors are because they subconsciously are looking for somebody to show them like you matter enough to get mad at.
It
And you
all
have to,
relates to what we kind of talked about, right? That's
yeah.
the participation stuff because they're so used to getting something and the failure is always it's okay to fail. It's not okay to fail. Fix
Hmm.
it.
Yeah.
It's fix it. It's okay to fail after you fix it.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to like.
What's why you fail, right?
Yeah, you
It's like,
fail, but you can't be like, oh, fail, and then you're not hungry to fix it.
right.
So to like, you can. That's one of the things I'll say. Like, why are you losing that hunger? What did I do? What did you do? What are you thinking about?
Right.
Every kid is different. Some of them just like burned out,
Mm-hmm.
and they might need a break, and that's hard to do, and depending on what part of the season it is.
Right.
And I didn't. And I was when I was younger, I was like, no, we're going through it. Some of them, I tell them, if the time is right, we can take a break. But
Right.
if we're in January, there's no break.
Like strategic breaks are
Absolutely,
good.
take a day off.
Like
Take 2 days off.
for my coach, which
But it depends when it lands.
I think it was genius. Maybe it was just like unbeknownst to him, but I know in my earlier like MMA days, I know I performed like I trained really hard, and but I was really looking for the acknowledgement. I was looking for like I wanted him to acknowledge my hard work, and so when I didn't get it, I would, you know, it's like those kids who like when you're like say I don't know if this still happens, maybe it does. Uh, if you're in the wrestling room, if you're watching their match, you see them how hard they're working, but you know like when you're over on the other side of the room,
Yep.
you see them from over there, and you're like they're dogging it, and you're like,
It happens a lot.
but it's like because they're getting they want to show you, which is a good thing as a coach because they want to impress upon you how hard they're working. But for me, it was that switch of like, no, it's how hard I do this when he's not
Absolutely,
watching me,
absolutely.
and then that's where like that self discipline comes in. It took me a long time to like, but then it clicked one day
Yeah,
when I realized what I
right.
was
You
doing.
lose some kids like that because they don't get that.
Yeah,
They wanted that. Coach doesn't care.
yeah. He's
Coach,
focused on
he's
him.
focused on Caden.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Caden, Caden, Caden. Or Alyssa.
Hmm.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
they got to that
They
stage for a
earn.
reason,
Yeah.
right? There's a lot of good wrestlers that we have upcoming, and working hard to get to that. But right
Mhm.
now, it's their show, it's their time.
Yeah. It's about earning the attention.
And then, like I said, there's kids that didn't get to this point, and I still think they did very good, and for the time they wrestled and what the effort they gave. So it's just it's a personality thing. It's a person thing.
Yeah. It's a very human thing. I mean, whether you're a coach or in the classroom, I mean, working with students, working with young people in general, like it's not it's not easy, and every single person you're working with, it's a different interaction every single time. So that's why like, every year it's like a whole new group of kids. I mean, not a whole new group, but it's a different dynamic,
Yeah.
right? And but it seems like year after year, like you have a solid squad. So you guys are doing something right, able to make all the pieces work together.
Well, it's like I said, it's the support, the coaches.
What do you think? I'm going to dip myself in that to warm water. What do you think the district can do like to support athletics better?
Um, well, one of the
And
things,
be honest,
of course,
we're not
but
live or anything.
yeah, right. Thanks. But one of the things I really liked is I've been going to this Hall of Fame for some years now,
Hmm.
and I know it was towards me, but and they saw my wrestlers, but we had the entire board. I felt was there right as I entered, and they acknowledged us by name, by what sport we're in, not knowing who we are. Like I think that's good, and more importantly, the especially in wrestling because it's an individual thing, kind of.
Hmm.
When they get acknowledged like that, I think it's important when the sport gets exposed by the upper and the higher, where we look through the district, we look to them. I mean,
Yes, all powerful in our
yep,
ivory tower.
yep, it is, it is.
I don't mean to
I know,
downplay it, but yeah.
no. Hmm.
Well, I mean, I think
So
that the board is
I don't want to say
genuinely good
recognition
people.
because I don't want it to be fake, but I also want it to be like known that this sport and this sport and this sport are changing kids' life
Well, I think
or doing well.
we kind of just mentioned it, right? It's kind of like because we get a lot. Like I get crap
Hmm.
for like showing the wrestling team so much love,
Hmm.
and I'll take it. I genuinely appreciate all athletics and what they do for our
Of
kids,
course, and
and
I as well. Me,
and the amount of work and the amount of dedication our coaches do for the minimal stipends that we offer just to me shows me how much uh how dedicated they are. So I have love for all of it, but it's one of those things where it's like you know when a team is doing great, like all I'm they've got my attention. I'm going to show up, and I will do that for any sport. And I am genuinely interested in uh, like the student success and like achievement part of it. I'm competitive,
yeah,
man. I love seeing our district and our schools like competing and winning. I want to see us win, and I'm always like, what do we need to do to win more?
yeah,
Like what do we
yeah,
do? And we have conversations about it at the board level and staff level about what we can do better from an athletics standpoint. And there's some hurdles, but we're making some progress on some things.
yeah,
I'm excited where they're gonna go. But for me, it's like, don't get mad because I'm sure like never. It's not deductive of my appreciation anywhere else. Number one is just the sport that I've loved my whole life, and I'm just more familiar with it. But I love going to football. I want to do more baseball. I went to a couple of volleyball games. I was actually like, in, I was surprised like how entertained I was by it, and like I want to do more of that stuff. But it is one of those things where like just wrestling just happens to be you guys are on stage like winning titles and going to state, and I want all of our sports to
yeah.
do that. I want to
For all
dominate
the sports, then
all of them.
yeah, for all sports, then I
Even
would say,
esports too, which
yeah,
doesn't get enough credit as athletic. I understand why, but I want to dominate in esports,
yeah,
man. It's not even just like a physical like macho thing. It's like I just want to dominate.
yeah. But
And
I'm saying for the district, I think for all sports, and I think it's gonna start happening. But the equipment, the facility, that's tough, right? We
yeah.
gotta we gotta deal with stuff that most other schools don't, right?
Well, I don't know
So
about most other schools because I've seen some that are worse and a lot that are better.
yeah,
I think that and this is why I was pushing for a bond so hard, um, because like any district, this is something that a lot of people don't know is like there's no money that comes in for facilities. That all comes out of a general fund. Like there's no way you can upkeep your facilities with just that. We have the lowest bond amount than any of the districts around us. The bonds that Downey is putting down, that money bonds are only for facilities. So they went out for I think two in the past 4 years. I think they just went out for a third. We went out for one ever. Like it's crazy. And so in a year, we're gonna be going to the ballot for a bond, and I'm gonna work my ass off to make sure it gets approved. But even though the bond didn't go through, we still were like, all right, we got to do something with athletics. So there's some things. Like the fields is gonna be big. That's a lot of money, and that's gonna be breaking ground real soon. Um, but I know it doesn't help the wrestling room.
no, but yeah,
But
it's for all sports. We talked
yeah,
about all, right? Yeah, not just wrestling. Wrestling, of
still got to
course,
get those tennis courts fixed up too.
tennis courts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a lot, man. Even the gymnasium. I
the
go in
gym.
there, the bleachers ain't pulling out.
Yeah,
That's a
that's the
problem.
stuff that I have an issue with. But yeah, like
Damn, banners aren't up.
Yeah, it's no,
I
but
mean, there's things, and I don't think it's
that's not what.
anybody's.
Yeah,
It's just like there's things that sometimes athletics can get a back seat, and I firmly believe. Listen, I I sometimes can be odd man out. Uh, Not really so much on my board because everyone's really supportive of athletics, but so a lot of the conversations are about in the classroom, and that's great.
well, yeah.
But the conversations about what our kids do after school is, in my opinion, equally and sometimes even more important to their development and safety. So
It will
I always bring it
translate
up.
to academics. I
It
promise.
does. It
It
does.
will.
It
It
does.
will. There's no doubt in my mind. It will. But
Yeah. So I
yeah,
mean, in for having pride in your school and pride in your district, I want people like when I went to what school was it? They just got like the new light system on their football field, and I think it was Downey. Oh, what school that is? Downey. They have like the new like jumbotron out there, and like they
yeah. I
had a
don't
whole
know.
light thing. And I was like, man, this is impressive. And I just imagine like those kids like playing in that field. They feel a sense of pride, like my
Yeah,
school's taking care of me. Like they're investing
they
in
want
this.
to play.
Yeah,
They want to look good.
and I don't want to lose students to those schools, especially at declining enrollment. I want to show like we are invested in our students in and out of the classroom and have facilities that we're proud of, that the community's proud of. And yeah, man, like that's definitely a direction. But there's some things that even with bellflower wrestling, man, I'm facilities wise, not all sports are treated equally. Um, and we have to really look at like how we do equity. We talk about it in different ways, but sports equity and making sure like teams
So
are
we're
all
gonna
taken
fix the
care of
restroom room up.
for we fix the drop ceiling.
Yeah, yeah.
We got but like even so like equity between like girls and boys wrestling, like sometimes it's not completely equal. Same thing over at Bellflower High School, and those are just things that I always try to keep on the. Hey, I'm not saying this is all we're going to talk about, but this is staying on the table
Yeah.
because these issues aren't going away, and we just got to make it better because our kids deserve it,
They do. They really do.
dude. Oh, before we wrap, you have to. So this is my Hall of Fame mat. So when you're a guest on the podcast, you got to sign it. Hold on.
Oh, cool.
Bust out that signature.
Thank you. Anywhere?
Anywhere.
I'll just keep it close right here.
Oh yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you for coming
Thank you
in.
for having me.
Um,
I'll put this back up.
yeah. I never like say. Do you like saying good luck?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. Yeah, good luck.
What do you say
Don't
instead?
say go break a leg.
Yeah, yeah. I don't. Yeah, yeah. That's not a good one.
Yeah.
I used to for a while. I was saying good skill, like just because it was like a coach thing.
No, good luck. Go get them.
Good luck. Yeah, go get him. Go get him in Bakersfield.
Yeah,
You guys leave tomorrow,
we're leaving tomorrow.
and you guys wrestle when?
Thursday, the girls start at 9 a.m. and the boys start at 12.
And so how does it work? It goes like so they wrestle. Is it one and done?
Depending on when they're on the bracket, where they land in the bracket, they should only wrestle 2 matches or maybe one. God forbid if they lose, and on Thursday they're done for that day.
Okay, then they don't come back the next day.
No, they do. Nobody's getting eliminated on Thursday,
Okay,
so that's why if they lose, they don't get to wrestle that Friday.
so
I mean, they'll wrestle till Friday.
and then Friday's the last day. It all wraps up, or do they have a
No,
final
it goes to
result?
Saturday.
So then
So it's
Saturday.
Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
And then what happens on Saturday? Is it just like the final match?
It
Is
should
it like a
maybe one round will be like what they call the blood rounds,
mhm.
and after that should be all placements.
Why is it called blood rounds?
Because if you lose, you're out. You win, you win. I
Mm.
mean, if you win, you're in to the
Got it.
place round.
And then when does the final match happen?
They take a break, and I think it's 10 mats, maybe 12 mats. I don't remember. I should remember, but they'll make it into 2 mats. So the girls will be on one mat, and the boys will be on one mat. So the whole arena will just be on 2 mats.
And do they do one at a time, or do they both same time?
The same time.
Same time.
So there's people that complain about it because you can't watch both. You
Yeah,
know
it's
it's
hard.
hard. Or the crazy thing that happens is if the girls referee blows a whistle,
Yeah,
sometimes the boys stop or vice versa.
I can see that.
So we seen that happen. So
So Saturday is like the final day,
yeah,
and the goal is to have
7
all
p.m.
four.
should be the final
Okay, and you have four going.
for going.
So the goal is all four on Saturday.
Oh yeah.
Um, that's cool, man. If I can make it, I'm gonna try to drive out there.
Oh well.
Yeah,
Let me know.
I want to.
Yeah.
I really do. Gotta check with the wife first.
Yeah, that's
I think
gonna
she
be
has a I think she has a Plumeria Society meeting. It's a real thing.
okay.
It's a real thing. Yeah. All right. All right. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for watching. And then switch back to my camera so I can do my little outro. There it is. All right. Thanks for watching Brick by Brick. Keep building community one conversation at a time, brick by brick, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks, guys.